It's presidents rather than novelists who give the State of the Union address, but you've written about America for 40 years, so I think there will be an interest in your views on what's going on now. President Bush's approval ratings have fallen almost as low as Richard Nixon's at the height of his scandals. Does it surprise you that it has got that bad for him?
I don't know how to answer in terms of, I'm surprised by the phenomenon altogether, much too old to be surprised by such a phenomenon. I lived as a college student through the McCarthy period. I was very alert to those things as a young person, and it was ugly. I wrote a book based on the McCarthy period. I married a communist. I lived as a fully mature adult through the most fascinating and sensational and frightening decade till now, which was the years of the Vietnam War. This is something unlike any of those. I think I can say safely from talking to any number of people that I've never heard people so despairing as they weren't during the Vietnam War. They were angry. Opposition was enormous. And the opposition finally ended the war. And I remember Norman Mailer saying something tremendously interesting when Lyndon Johnson was essentially driven out of running for a second term. And he went on television and said, I will not run for a second term, because he couldn't speak anywhere in America except on an army base. Wherever he went, he was shouted down. And Mailer said, who would have thought that Lyndon Johnson couldn't take it? And nobody can take it if you keep the pressure up on them. But there's no pressure, except from some columnists, some journalists, but not from the Democratic Party, not from our ex-president Clinton, not from his wife, who wants to run for president. It's a sad moment, really.
Is Hillary Clinton a plausible president, a possible president?
Well, if anybody can lose 50 states for the Democrats, I think she can.
Is there anyone who could win?
Yes, I think Al Gore could win.
You think Al Gore should run again?
Yes, I think he should. I hope he does. I don't think he will. I think he could win. I think maybe now I'm being just as naive as we all are when we talk about these things. This is another occasion where you become childish. But let the child speak.
At the end of this summer, we're 5 years away from September 11th and those events. Is it possible to say yet the impact that day had on American history and politics?
Devastating. Yes, this, I think, criminal administration has hijacked the event to bankrupt the country financially, to go to war needlessly. What could be more criminal than that? To destroy every social program they possibly could that gave aid and comfort to people in need. To make lying, which is only half of politics, 90% of politics. To alienate America from most of the world, to utterly destroy whatever moral prestige America still had. It's hardly a pure country, but there were things it stood for that were pretty good. And but that's utterly destroyed. So now the president of Iran can write a letter to the president of the United States, and when I read it, I shake my head in agreement with this monster. This monster writes a letter to our monster, and I think the other monster has some points to make, you know? So it's a catastrophe.
In your a career of more than 40 years as a writer now, it seemed, I think, to a lot of critics and to readers that there was a new burst of energy around the turn of the millennium. So from American Pastoral in 1997 through that American trilogy, I Married a Communist, human stain, and then in the more recent books. Do you have a sense of that something new began then, a new phase?
I like to think I just was doing the same old stuff, you know.
Philip Roth, thank you very much.
You're welcome.